and welcome to USN Travel Talk again. This time, these short talks we're doing every week, we are doing it with stakeholders around the world, and USN Talk, Travel Talk will talk with hotels, destinations, DMCs on how the world is opening up and how they are opening up to the Nordic visitors as well. And today we have Jameela from Visit Dubai. We had a slight technical problem, so I'm seeing if she's coming on again, but she was sitting in the office and the line was a little bit bad, so hopefully she will be back. For those who don't know me, who's online and who's watching later as well, my name is Christine Engen and I'm running the United Spring Nordic, which we work with the different destinations and DMCs and hotels around the world. And of course, I'm here to assist everybody, travel agents and event makers, in helping them how to create some business again. But I am checking on if she is coming on. So if you bear with me a little bit, I will check if she's back again soon. And during the presentation, she's doing a short presentation. Please let me know, and then you will ask questions. We're very happy that you get and ask questions, because this is the way you get to know everything. For those ones who, I think Jameela is coming back. Let's see. Hi, Jameela.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me? Yeah?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I just introduced you actually and said like we're having just slight technical problems, but that's the way it is when you're doing these live situations. And even though we're sitting in Dubai, both of us, and we're sitting on the side of the city. But for those who's joining, we have quite a few joining on live here as well. So for those ones who are joining, as said, we are doing these travel talks. And of course, we have been talking with Jameela earlier when we open up Dubai. And now, of course, we've been open up for some time. Like it's actually July, August, September, in October. We almost been open 3 months or soon, in 2.5 months already. So now it's interesting to see how, what's happening in Dubai, how things is in Dubai. And I think both tour operator and journalists are, of course, interesting to see how we're moving along. I think it is. I know you have a short update for us for like a presentation. Yeah. And it should be down on my slides here as well. I think it should be there. So I don't know if what we do is just start on with that, and either I ask questions, and like I said to everybody online, please ask questions as well, because that's how you get answers on what you're wondering, how Dubai is working. So shall we just go on, or is there anything you would like to say? I don't know. We talk about, everybody talks about numbers and, coronavirus numbers and everything. And I know that in the Nordic, or even in the Nordic and even in Europe, there has been a rise, a spike in numbers. We had a little spike here as well, but I can see I listen to the radio every morning. So this morning I saw there was lower numbers as well. And so hopefully it's going down here too. But I think it's kind of what they're saying a second, why we all, are part of that thing as well. But we can take those questions when we come along. Shall we do that, Jameela?
Yes.
And then we just continue. Do you want me to start it? Or
I can start.
Yeah, I'd leave it. Excellent. And I will monitor the chat, so please ask questions, everybody.
Perfect. So I just want to say hello to everyone, and I want to start with thanking Christine for organizing today's talk and hosting me on it. I would also like to thank everyone for their time, for joining us here today. We hope that you have managed to overcome the difficult last few months and that you are looking forward with us to now restart of Dubai, which we look forward to work together on a strong comeback and recovery. Today, basically, I will be providing you with an overview of where we are and how things are looking like in Dubai, starting with the current situation overview. With thanks to our leadership and their swift decision-making, follow-up and support, this has resulted in an effective citywide management of the pandemic. As of 14th of September, the UAE has conducted over 8.1 million tests and is ranked in the top 10 globally for COVID testing. The UAE is also among the world's first countries to test 80% of its population. So you see a rise in the numbers due to the wide testing that the country is conducting. UAE comes first in the region and 9th in the world in the list of safest countries and in terms of managing COVID-19. Thanks also to the frontline workers for their efforts that have kept us safe these last few months, and by the 200 nationalities living here that have fully taken on responsible behavior in this new COVID normal. Dubai is working on a strong recovery, and over the past few months, families and residents from across the UAE have been experiencing the diverse attractions and experiences that
Hi, Jameela. I think we're having a little bit issue on the sound again. I can't hear it coming through, and I hear Jørgen as well saying he can't hear you clearly. You're falling out a bit. Can you hear me now? Can't hear you. No, you're falling out a bit. And the other one's also having the same trouble. Can you hear me? Or let's see. Okay. Let's see if we reboot the room, maybe. Can't hear what you're saying. I think she might be trying to go out and come back again. You're trying to go out and in again, Jameela, because I can't hear anything.
Hi, Christine. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Okay, perfect.
Very loud and clear. Thank you. Shall you take that slide again, you know, the one with the sector recovery?
Yes. So just to take you over the Dubai tourism sector recovery, basically, I was mentioning that we have already passed phase one, where basically the immediate handling of the pandemic, adopting the security and safety measures to safeguard the residents and visitors of Dubai, and in order to enable us to restart as soon as possible, to start phase 2, which is the new COVID era of reopening, where we are today, basically, which is a staggered and tentative restart across the world as people start to travel and plan their vacations for Q4, which will lead us into hopefully post 3 of the post-COVID normalcy, the full reopening and confidence and revived travel behaviors, which will vary by market. And as a destination, we were able to overcome this pandemic in a short period and look forward to phase 3 of the normalcy.
You disappeared?
Right. So in terms of welcoming the world, welcoming the world again, on July 7th, we had our restart and have been welcoming tourists back to our city. The city is fully aligned and well prepared to receive tourists from all across the world. And with the combined efforts of the UAE's leadership, government and tourism sector stakeholders, as well as Dubai airports and our national carriers, Emirates Airlines and Fly Dubai, Dubai has also received the Safe Travel stamp by the World Travel and Tourism Council, which was extremely positive news for Dubai.
Can you go back again a little bit, Jameela? I was just actually thinking about when you went talk about the, arrivals, or I know you talked about tourism arrivals, but for coming in, are we still on the same as I was traveling, of course, as I told you, up to Copenhagen and back again. And like I said, it's just a negative test we need to have traveling out of Dubai, and we need a negative test coming, of course, back again in Dubai. And for Scandinavia, there is no other, precautions we need to think about still. Yeah. Just checking.
Yes, as you've mentioned, we will go through that in the coming slides, but okay. There are no other precautions to be made. So in terms of with restrictions being lifted globally, we've adapted an ecosystem to safeguard the residents and the tourism sector. So we have ensured that all establishments across tourism touchpoints have complied with the health and safety guidelines as per our efforts to instill confidence and trust in travelers, including a new compliance program, which is Dubai Assured. Dubai Assured is a specially designed initiative to certify and recognize hotels and retail establishments, food and beverage outlets, and attractions that manage to implement all public health and safety protocols for the prevention and management of COVID-19. So the stamp is issued free of charge and has a validity of 15 days, with establishments having to renew every 2 weeks upon inspection from the relevant authorities. This has gained great success, with approximately 90% of Dubai's hotel establishments having so far received the Dubai Assured stamp, while the remaining hotels are currently going through the inspection process.
Okay. Can I ask you something on these Dubai? Is it only hotels, or is it restaurants and
Yes. So basically, the restaurants as well, food and F&B outlets are part of this.
Okay. Is there any on the shops, or is it just basically things which has with interaction? I was thinking, is it all businesses who interact with people, basically, who can have this Dubai Assured?
Yes, so it's mainly hotels and the F&B outlets.
Okay.
And attractions as well.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Moving on to the next slide. Mm-hmm. Basically, what's open and operating, we have all of these facilities and attractions open, and it's a really it's an amazing feeling seeing the fun returning to Dubai with the reopening of attractions, facilities, and amenities. So basically, such as the hotels, malls, beaches, public parks, and water parks. Of course, with the stringent safety measures placed across the board. If we look at the general health and safety measurements, the standard requirements such as social distancing and wearing a face mask, the family entertainment destination deployed a wide range of other precautionary and preventive measures to safeguard the health of visitors across all customer-facing touchpoints in their respective facilities and surrounding environments, including undergoing temperature checks and sanitization of the facilities.
Yeah. If you go back again, sorry for asking you, or maybe I think it's interesting for the people as well listening into that. Of course, all hotels and their private beaches are open, all public beaches are open as well. I think the only thing you have to remember, it is still going on with the the distance as well. So
yes,
of course, on the beaches, so it's important to know that when you're sending people down to Dubai, that they need to be aware that there is a distance rule on the beach as well. So they keep the 2-meter distance between people or groups. I think it's almost 4 meters. So they're putting quite wide distance between the groups of people as well. But I think also for people coming down, like I said, I had a friend of mine actually asked me about Dubai because he was looking to come down here in October, and he said, can I move freely around, or is there anything for me to do? And that's why I think it's important to see that all amusement parks and theme parks are actually open. Like Marius, my son, was up the IMG, and of course there is some of the roller coaster is not open, one of those who goes around or triples around and stuff, but of course, and the Wild Wadi is open, Atlantis is open, all these water parks are open. And I think so there is things to do. I think that's what people are a little bit, insecure about. If it's still, they can go out and do stuff. And we have a question saying that, do children also have to wear face masks?
So children are not necessarily, they don't necessarily have to wear face masks, but we do see parents being extra cautious about this, and we do see kids wearing their face masks in public as well.
And also important, like for sports, because some people maybe come down to play golf and or even they do play tennis at the hotel, or they go out for bowling or something like that, So of course you have to wear your face mask when you're going out on the golf course. You have to wear the face mask when you're also walking in groups, of course. So if you're 3 or 4 not in the same family, you have to wear face mask. Isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, when you're alone outdoors, practicing sports, cycling, walking, jogging, when you're alone, you don't necessarily need to wear the face mask. It's mainly for public areas that the masks and public transportation, for example, that you would need to wear your masks.
Yeah, and another thing I think which is good to also do, because since we have this discussion back in Scandinavia about public transport, of course you don't have the same measurements back in Scandinavia on how many people or the blocking seats. So I think it's good to know that here they actually block a seat, saying you do not sit on if you're taking the bus or if you're taking the metro, which some people do, they take the metro as well, or you have limited people in the this limited of people being in the buses and metros or even taxis as well. So that all these measurements are even in public transport, including wearing a mask.
Agreed. Yeah, and in terms of maintaining the social distancing, especially in public areas or even in restaurants, we see that the entire industry has taken these measures into account, where, for example, the tables are 2 meters apart, the public transportation, the seats, The cinemas, there are always blocked seats to ensure that there's physical distancing in place.
Exactly. And I think that's also good. Like if you go to cinema as well here, I was actually in the cinema that's a month ago actually. But there is blocked like 2 seats in between, group of bookings as well. So there is actually 2 seats in between your next person next door as well there. So I think that's very good to remember. And also I think if some go to gyms, of course, hotels has gyms indoor or fitness clubs, or they want to go to a fitness club outside. It's also good to know that they have also limited space in terms of that. So there will be limited, they need to pre-book and everything. Yeah. So another question here regarding the temperature or the testing as well. Do employees who have regular tourist contact go through COVID-19 testing regularly?
Pardon, can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. Do employees who have regular tourist contact or is in contact with tourists regularly go through COVID-19 testing also regularly or on,
Yes, we do. So as an entire population, basically, I know a lot of people that have been doing tests, especially our frontline workers, do the COVID tests regularly. So, for example, and it depends on the private sectors and other industries and whatnot, but basically it depends on the organization policies as well. But for example, we see that if a person within the organization is found positive, then the whole floor or the department or the people would run through the tests. And I think Christine as well can support me with from her experience on this in terms of the PCR testing. But we usually do the PCR tests on a bi-weekly basis. So we have the facilities, we have the labs distributed across the cities. So we have the private clinics, the government tents where PCR tests are easily accessible, and the prices for it are also reducing. So from 350 dirhams up to now 250, and in some facilities it's 150 dirhams. So it's becoming more and more accessible to the public.
Yeah, and also I think also with Mariko is asking, I think here is that also if you have guests coming down, like for example drivers or people working in hotels and stuff, if they are regularly tested, I think it also becomes, it's a private sector, so of course the hotels has its own policy, so sometimes you need to include, but what they do have, they have very strict measurements in terms of detecting it. Like I can just talk for myself and my family who works, so my husband who works down here, where there is regular kind of, there is the temperature checks. Well, we don't have that in Scandinavia. Here it's a regular temperature check going on every day. So the moment you go into your work space or your office, you are checked for temperature, and they also check, if there is someone who has symptoms, they are taken for testing immediately, and then of course they are sanitizing, and there is also measurements in their offices. I can talk from Arabian Adventures part, of course, that there they have a regular cleaning going on. So if there has been a meeting, that meeting room is cleaned, and they're sanitized. All the offices are sanitized, every evening. And if there is one positive, then everybody on that floor, of course, is taken in either quarantine and tested. And so they have all these measurements and rules in place if things happen. And I can't guarantee for all, but of course, obviously, most of all these private sectors has, I think, similar kind of things, because they have been told by the government how to react in terms of, detecting positives, or how to act if there is a positive, worker in their workspace as well. So there is very much rules and regulations how to react and how to behave around the situation. And that's, I think, what makes Dubai very safe, that there is very clear rules. There is nothing which can be interpreted, or maybe but there's very clear rules what the rule is. And even in schools here, I have a son in school, and even in school, they are temperature checked every day. Their desks are 2 meters apart, and they're not allowed to have physical contact, of course. And they're sitting in one classroom, and the teachers are moving, or they're having online in the same. So there's a homeroom teacher. So there is minimal contact there as well. In that, and less breaks, of course, but and they have also rules on where to enter and where to exit the school. So there's certain exit, and they also have staggered enter and exits per timings as well. So what I find in Dubai, that they're taken in all, and you have to correct me, Jameela, if I'm saying it the wrong way, but I find it that there is so clear rules and regulations on how to behave. So it makes it very easy to continue your life. Would you say that?
Agreed.
Yeah. I just find it is very clear, and regulations, and also how to behave if something happens as well.
And I think also it runs on different levels as well. I see that a lot of the residents from the different nationalities across the UAE have been supportive of this, and they were cooperating in terms of basically maintaining those regulations and respecting and understanding that these measurements that are put in place is for their own good, and to ensure that it's for their own safety, basically. So we've been very lucky to see that across the city, the support and basically how the residents are reacting to these regulations that are put in place.
I think so as well. It's been a kind of a all over cooperation and understanding of the situation, and also that we have to continue living as well at the same time.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Go continue.
No worries.
No. Can I also go back a little bit on the face mask? I know someone talked about the children and face mask, but I think it's also important to understand when they're coming down, because back in Scandinavia, the differences, and that's what's important to explain to the tourists coming down, or those who maybe will traveling, despite there is a restriction on traveling to Dubai at the moment from here. But I think it's important to know if someone, and or in future as well, that of course here, if you don't wear a face mask, we're supposed there is a fine, of course, and there is more, again, back to regulations. There is a fine for wearing your face mask. You have to wear your face mask correctly as well, that it should be over the nose and the mouth, and the physical distance. I think it's very important that you have to, you have to be taking temperature as well. And you will be taking temperature going into a restaurant, going into a cafe, going into anything which has with food and beverage, going into a supermarket or into Dubai Mall or Mall of Emirates. So you will be taking temperature on a regular basis during the day. You will be. Sorry, yeah, it was just that. I just think this is important because back in Scandinavia, it's more like an optional kind of thing. It's only in public transport you have to do it, but it's not regulated that well as it is down here. So it's important, I think, that they understand that as well.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So moving on to the travel requirements to Dubai, from 1st of August, all tourists, residents, citizens, and transit passengers must present a valid negative PCR test upon arrival. The negative COVID-19 certificates would be valid for 96 hours from the time of the PCR test. The tourists may test at any lab accredited by their health authority in their country. Travelers, of course, are advised to check their country's travel advisory for latest guidance on outbound trips, as well as the individual carrier requirements. Tourists must have medical travel insurance covering with international coverage before traveling. A declaration must be signed to bear all costs of quarantine and treatment, and complete the health declaration form before departure, including ensuring the passenger has no COVID-19 systems. Obviously, we recommend to visit our websites for any updates for the most up-to-date information. But basically, we're updating the regulations as across the world is being updated regularly as well. But at the moment, these are the main travel requirements to Dubai. Hello. Okay, so I'm not sure if the connection is clear. I couldn't hear Christine, but I'll continue. Christine just messaged me on this. So I'm going to continue accordingly. Basically, these are the travel requirements for now. It would differ depending on the country that you're coming from, or the carrier that you will be using. So, for example, in response to the latest developments in the COVID-19 outbreak, Emirates is taking extra steps that go above and beyond industry.
Let's do a reboot on the room, Jameela, and if everybody just stay on, and I'll do a reboot, and we come back again because the sound is gone. Let's see if we're back again. Can you hear me? Going back with the presentation. Can you hear? Let's see. Oh. What I didn't hear was coming over to this area.
Christine?
I can hear you now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Where were we?
I think we were over here when we started because you didn't hear me. So I think we're back again on, we're on this
travel
one.
requirements.
Okay. Exactly.
Okay, so basically those were the generic travel requirements that we to Dubai. However, depending on the carrier you use or the country you're coming from, the regulations would be, for example, different. So if we look at Emirates and Fly Dubai, we see that they have taken extra steps to ensure the safety and customers' health and comfort. So if we go on to the next slide, basically, we see that Emirates and Fly Dubai is covering their passengers for COVID-19 related medical expenses and quarantine costs when they travel to and from the UAE and also around the world with the Fly Dubai and Emirates. Emirates will be covering these costs through to 31st of October, while Fly Dubai will be covering these costs through 30th of November. In terms of flight connections to the Nordics, at the moment we have direct flights from Emirates with 5 weekly Copenhagen Dubai flights, 2 weekly Oslo Dubai flights, and 1 weekly Stockholm Dubai flight. And we hope to see more routes from Fly Dubai and Finnair to resume by end of Q4. If we look at other initiatives that Dubai Airport is also implementing, basically they've launched a special passport sticker bearing the phrase "a warm welcome to your second home," just to make, just to have that emotional connection and that touch with the tourists coming into Dubai to make them feel at home and safe within the destination. Christine, do you have any questions on?
No, I don't think. No, exactly, because I think on the flights you see, I think they're trying to put. Emirates said they will put on a second flight for Stockholm very soon, or here in October, I'm thinking. So they will get 2 flights as well. I haven't heard or got any update on the Fly Dubai when they will start flying, but they were originally done, wasn't it, here in October or I don't know. So we'll have a look at what they're doing. And I think like they're coming into the, if you're coming into the airport, like I said, I've been flying, so I've done the whole thing and it works very fine in the airport. I would say going into even the airport in Dubai, everything is as normal, and they also open up the online check-in as well, I think now. So you can do your online check-in and baggage thing. So it's more and more getting back to normal, I think, going into the airport. Up in Terminal A, I was doing A and B, which was fine. It was a bit closed up in C because it's not used that much. And of course, there is limited passengers going through, depending on, if you compare it to earlier. And on the way out as well, it's the same way. When I came into Dubai, I just walked through, to immigration, show my passport, show my negative COVID test. You need to show there as well. And it was fine. It was good. So,
it was a smooth process.
Very smooth process. I was actually amazed that it went so well and quick. And of course, with less passengers on the flights, you land earlier as well. I would say all the flights has been landing now half an hour earlier than normal. So you're actually out by midnight. And you got your taxis and, cars outside anyway. So it's easy to also get or transport outside as well. So it goes very smooth and easy. Luggage comes out, but it is a fair amount. I was amazed that there is a fair amount of people. They're saying, well, there are around 25,000 passengers passing by the airport every day at the moment. So of course, much less than before, but still, again, it's a busy airport, even now as well. It is. So it was nice in terms of you know, when you're flying for the first time, it feels like you're cycling for the first time, and then you remember how you do it. So it's all good again in one way. So it's like a little bit of butterflies when you're going to fly for the first time in these days. But yeah, a very smooth process going both in and out.
Thank you, Christine. So coming to our next update, what we're doing from a Dubai tourism perspective, basically we have a phased marketing strategy developed with the strategic framework with key objectives mapped out for each of the phases. So if we look into phase one of the pandemic, let's say from May and June, in this phase, it was important to keep Dubai top of mind of the future traveler with our marketing campaign Till We Meet Again. We ensured that the messaging is in the right markets, and the destination search results now show that we did a great job in this regard. Coming on to phase two, which was from July and September, and in some markets such as the Nordics, where it is still live, this phase intended to build consideration for traveling in Q4 or sooner or later, so that we create an appetite for travelers coming to Dubai. Ready When You Are campaign encouraged the audience to start considering bookings to Dubai whilst emphasizing reassurance and safety. And phase three of our marketing campaign will be when basically the borders open to Dubai. So we will soon be rolling out phase three, where we will start increasing our aim at conversion. At this stage, we want to emphasize that we managed a strong recovery and that we had a successful restart. Live Your Story campaign will aim at driving bookings to Dubai in our conversion stage. We understand that the current regulation does not allow a fast recovery in terms of arrivals from the Nordics, but we're ready to welcome the Nordic travelers as soon as the European border policy will be changed. I think with events coming back throughout the year, as well as new hotel openings and attractions, we are confident that we will see a strong recovery of the tourism sector overall leading up to the winter sun period, which we all know is key for the Nordic market. I think before I end the presentation, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who have supported us throughout the years, including throughout this challenging period, and we look forward to working even closer together going forward to create the success story that we aim to achieve. We're always available here to support in terms of pushing the destination and basically coming with a strong recovery. That's it from my end, but also if we look at the appendix, you would have our social media accounts, our website, and we also have our training tools, e-courses, online e-courses, and trade communication toolkit by the end of the presentation. And yeah, I think that's it from my end, and if there are any questions.
I think we got through it since we did a I don't know if anyone else has any questions. I think it's quite clear. It's more like an update as well. We've been through it a few times now, and I think it's more of an update. I will ask them if there's any questions. Let's see. Because I think it's more on the, testing, of course, they're saying how things are. And I can say that we're doing a webinar, or we're doing a travel talk with Arabian Adventures later on, so they can talk about how the different excursions are going, because there is excursions, and all clear. I'm getting back. But it's very clear because it's very easy rules to follow, I think we have down here. So, and I think it's just for them to be clear. And like we said with the testing, which one was asking about the testing for the staff, I think the measurements are so strict with the staff in the different establishments. So the testing will only be when there is, you know, one maybe positive and how close you've been. Because I can see that even on my husband's workplace, that, you know, if you've been less or more than 2 meters, less than 15 minutes, you know, away from the person, you're not regarded as, you know, first contact, as we said. Exactly. So, and I think with all that measurements, that when they are having meetings, they are sitting 2 meters apart in, you know, few people, or, you know, in a meeting room. So there is, so all those measurements are in place. So that means even also for the staff that they are staggered also meeting times in the offices. Not everybody's in the office, but they have like every second day, or, you know, so there is, people are not sitting more than, you know, 2 meters apart anyway. So they need to have the 2 meters in their offices as well. So people are not sitting next to each other or on top of each other, basically. So I think with that, I think it also comes back to that, how safe, you know, how is the staff been taken care of? I think that's part of that as well. And all staff has been, you know, measured with temperatures and everything. So I think that's more or less. And like you said, events coming back, I think that's another thing. Someone, I think, asked about events. Is there any actually events going on?
So I think we've hosted a few events at the Trade Center. One of the events was AI of everything.
Yeah.
We also had our Dubai tourism events for the launch of the summer festival, as well as the launch of the event itself. And basically, attending those events are also abiding to the regulations in terms of social distancing. So that we see that the chairs are clearly organized to ensure that there is physical distancing within those events.
Exactly. And we also had Jimmy Carr, the British comedian, who was down in end of August. He did 3 shows. And again, there was seated, of course, you're seated in a group. So if there's 4 people booked together, you are seated for 4. You need to wear your mask if you go and get your drinks or your food, but you have to sit down, and, you know, so it's a very clear measurements in place as well. But of course, we have the space down here. We have big arenas, so you can do events with the measurements in place. I think that's the good part as well. But we will come into MICE as well later on. I will do a different on that with also Arabian Adventures, and see how they have been doing as well on that. So that will be done. But I think it's good that events are back. I think it is. Excellent. I think, is there anything else, Jameela, you like to tell us? Or
no, nothing from my side. Just want to thank everyone for their time and bearing with us with all the connection issues.
Yeah, I will clear up the whole thing when they're sending it out. I know a few has been signing up to get the replay, so we will clear up that one, and I will put it on the YouTube as well, so everybody gets the one without all the. But that's the way it is, you know, when we are depending on the Wi-Fi, we just have to play along with it. It is, you can't do anything else. Thank you very much, Jameela, also for taking your time to talk to us again. It's a pleasure always.
It's a pleasure.
With you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and for everybody, have a great work day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Jameela.
Bye-bye.
Bye.